Make 'em Laugh is a delightful book. This is the third of Debbie Reynolds' books. It was published in 2015, and it's quite different to her other two. As we see here, it's short-term memories of long-time friends. And in the book, we basically have a series of short anecdotes. Some are longer than others. Some are maybe upwards of 8-10 pages. But most, as you can see here, are a couple of pages in length. And we go through various aspects of her life, mostly her career. I just want to go back to that picture, actually. And, of course, we have some images in this. Oh, I can't find it. The picture was Debbie's first proper photo shoot after she became Miss Burbank. We have some gorgeous, gorgeous pictures. And unlike the other two as well, I would kind of binge read the other two. They were, to use a word I don't like, unputdownable. Hate the word, but it does describe them very well. Whereas this one, I found that I wasn't sitting down reading it for any length of time. It's something that I would pick up when I had a small amount of time in between doing things. I'll be honest, I'd read it when I was waiting for the kettle to boil, and I'd read a couple of pages or a couple of anecdotes, and it has taken me therefore quite a while to read it because I was just reading a little bit each day, and I rather enjoyed that because it meant I had just a little bit of Debbie every day, and it's an absolute delight. Some of the stories are about people I'm aware of. Some of them are about people I'd never heard of, but she tells these stories in such a way that it's impossible to not become immersed in whatever anecdote she's sharing. And personal highlights, I have to say, right at the end, she shares a couple of anecdotes about her family, about Carrie Fisher and Billy. Most of them are about people in the entertainment industry, but one I love in particular, let me see if I can find this. It's a story I was already aware of. I don't know if she'd mentioned it in a previous memoir or if it was just something I was aware of because I love her. But it's the story about the time. Oh, there's that picture. I'm trying to hold the phone in one hand, and then there we go. Yes. Absolutely adorable 16-year-old Debbie Reynolds. Yes, but it's a story about the time she wrote to Katharine Hepburn and got a handwritten note back. And interestingly, while I was aware, I don't think I can find the picture of this note, while I was aware of the note and the story, I wasn't actually aware of the events leading up to it. There's a small anecdote surrounding why she wrote to Katharine Hepburn, and obviously I won't share that because that's in the book. But even though the point there is that even though it mentions some things that I was aware of, it goes into a little bit more detail and she gives us a bit more context, and I really thoroughly enjoyed that. It's very, very well written. It's very easy to read. Most of the stories are quite upbeat and quite happy. Some of them are upbeat, but then a little bit more somber if the individual has passed on. Occasionally, it's hard to read as a Debbie fan because, bearing in mind this was published the year before her death, she's talking occasionally about what she thinks her future will be like, or thinking about things in years to come. Put it this way, there's no indication here that her life is about to end. Of course not, her life ended so suddenly and so tragically in such a heartbreaking way. But reading it, there are a couple of lines here and there, a couple of things that she says that are very emotional and very, very difficult to read, but beautifully so. And it's absolutely delightful. It's written alongside Dorian Hannaway, who also wrote one of her other books with her, at least one of them. As I said, very, very well written. And there's the back if anybody's interested. If you're a fan of Debbie Reynolds, it's absolutely worth checking out. As I've mentioned, unlike her other two, where I sat down and read them chapter after chapter, this one I just picked up pretty much every day for probably a couple of months, actually. Some days I would read one anecdote, some days I'd read 3 or 4. It depends on, the length of them and what I was doing. But I enjoyed knowing that every day I'd have a little bit of Debbie in my life. And it's been a really beautiful experience. And of course, there's an insight into the golden era of Hollywood as well with some of the anecdotes. It's fabulous. I absolutely loved it. If you're a Debbie Reynolds fan, then Make 'em Laugh is something you're definitely going to want to read.